Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Gervonta Davis going to be returning to the ring late spring, early summer. Going to be fighting Frank Martin. But the concern is Gervonta Davis and everything that he's had to endure over the last 10 months. The concern that he's going to show up in a fight with a live dog in Frank Martin. And Gervonta Davis is going to get upset. Now, I already know a lot of people out there, they already have their mind made up on who's going to win the fight between Gervonta Davis, Abdul Wahid, or Frank Martin. And I can understand how a person to sit there and say, look, Gervonta has this. He should just walk away with the win. Possibly even, how they can say this, I don't know, because Frank Martin can fight. Haven't seen him hurt in any fights, but then again, haven't seen him in an actual fight against Tank Davis. Forget the sparring. When Tank Davis is under the bright lights, Tank Davis shows up, and like you hear people say, he shows out. But he may be out of gunpowder. He may be out of ammunition. You know what I'm saying? He may be out of hollow points. Because when you talk about fighters who can bang, who can knock you out, who are sharp, who have speed, who have everything, and they go inactive, like Tank says he's got 2 Glocks and all that, right? His shit ain't on full blast no more. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not so sure he can pull the trigger. And you may say, well, damn, why you say that, man? Look, all I'm saying is when I look at a guy like what just happened there with Deontay Wilder, known for pulling that trigger. Now, I know people are saying, oh, you're taking it to the stupid. You're comparing Tank to Deontay. I think it's only fair to compare Tank to Deontay when we're strictly talking about their ability to land. I'm about to sneeze. Excuse me. To land the one-hitter quitter. You saw Deontay Wilder, man, come off some inactivity, got new Helenius, got lucky, in my opinion, was able to bing Helenius. But when he got in there against Joseph Parker, although you're talking about more than a 10-month layoff, he just wasn't able to get the job done. Look at Anthony Joshua, man. Coming off of some inactivity, going into fights, and not really being able to pull the trigger. We know Anthony Joshua has the ability to knock you out with one shot. And when I look at Gervonta Davis and the distractions with the women in his life, being arrested, that shit with the car accident, a judge who's not being, according to him, not being fair to him, not being able to train the way he needs to come now and go straight into a fight with a guy like Frank Martin. I just, is Gervonta going to be able to pull that trigger? Because I tell you what, man, Frank Martin, there's some inactivity there, but he doesn't seem to have had all the distractions, to have gone through the tumultuous times, dealing with turmoil. I just have a feeling in this fight, if Gervonta Davis, because you can, they say you either win the fight in the gym or lose the fight in the gym. Now, I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, right? Now, I'm a guy who's done a lot of sparring. I don't think back when I was really active and shit, I'm trying to think if I went 10 months. Okay. I'd never gone 10 months, but what I can tell you is I had gone a few months, without being in the gym. That's just kind of how I was, right? But I do know once I got back in that gym and I started getting active again, a little bit of body aches and sores and a little bit of light sparring, and over time, you start firing on all cylinders again. So I think for Gervonta Davis, this is a whole nother level of athlete compared to myself, because these guys are professionals, been doing it since little kids. He has muscle memory, he has everything. But if for me, and a lot of you all who've sparred before and boxed before, nothing on the level of what these guys are doing. If we can be out the gym 4 or 5 months and then come back and just start to work, and then gradually after about a month and a half, 2 months in, you're firing on all cylinders again. I have no doubt Gervonta Davis, because he's off of house arrest, he can go and train. The fight's not. That could be another reason why the fight's scheduled for like late spring, because it's February, March, April, May, or June, July, between May and July, right? That could be why, to give him time to really get in there, get into shape, start firing on all cylinders, to make sure that he's instead of shooting a little pop gun, he gets back to firing those Glocks. But I just, even so, I wonder about his mental state, because you can't leave your mind behind. No matter how much you want to, like, you can't pick up a gavel and cudgel yourself into doing something. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't seem to be any distraction with Floyd. Doesn't seem to be any distraction with Leonard Ellaby. Haven't heard anything about the mothers of his kids. So for Gervonta Davis, he should be okay. He may be in the best space. You know what? This is another way to look at it. He may be in the best space that he's been in his whole life. All of his legal woes, from my understanding, seem to be behind him now. Before, he was going into fights, dealing with all of that, and still was able to focus and get the job done. So when I kind of look at it from a different lens, maybe Gervonta Davis, maybe he's more dangerous now. Maybe he's more dangerous now. But it still makes you wonder. Still makes you wonder, because we won't know until you see him get in the ring. Just how everything he's gone through, how that affected him, and how it's going to affect him going into the fight. I'm very curious to see. Now, as far as Gervonta Davis' next fight, this is what we really need to look at. Like, this is an interesting conversation, because Gervonta Davis is fighting Frank Martin. Let me show you something. For Gervonta Davis, this is the problem he's running into, right? I keep hearing people say Gervonta Davis' value has diminished X, Y, and Z. Okay, so this is Gervonta Davis. They have him ranked. See, this is the ill shit. They have Gervonta Davis ranked behind Lomachenko. Lomachenko's ranked number 1. Gervonta Davis ranked number 2. Are you kidding me? Anyway, after Tank comes Cruz. He fought him, then Stevenson, then Zepeda, Martin, Murataya, Kambosos, Hughes, and Davis. But the problem is, Davis is the WBA champion, right? The WBA Super World Lightweight champion. And this is what Tank Davis is going to have to deal with. So we can talk dream matches all we want when it comes to Tank Davis. He's fighting Frank Martin, who's ranked number 2. Okay, if he gets through Frank Martin, right? This is what he has to deal with. He may get an opportunity to have a voluntary defense, but if not, you got Zepeda, De Los Santos, Floyd Schofield, Maxie Hughes, Jose Valenzuela. Those names alone, man, are big names. Those fights are not easy fights for Gervonta Davis. Zepeda is a killer, 29-0. He comes in there to take your head off. De Los Santos is a good fight, but Tank should be able to get that. But De Los Santos can fight. Floyd Schofield, some people say Schofield doesn't have the experience, but others say Schofield is ready for a guy like Tank Davis. Then Maxie Hughes, and then Jose Valenzuela, he can crack, and he has long arms. Does he beat Tank? I don't know. You just have to wait and see on Fight Night what develops. But for Tank Davis, there's nothing easy for him here. Now, I know a guy like Tank, a lot of people say is the face of boxing. He can kind of pick and choose what he wants to do to a certain extent. But if he wants to hold on to that belt, he's going to have to do it mandatories. But when we look at the guys here who are, as far as the ring ranking, the rack and stack for numbers 1 through 10, I don't understand how come Lomachenko is ranked number 1. This is some secret society bullshit. But anyway, it is what it is. But I think Davis beats Lomachenko. But Davis is more Lomachenko's size, but Davis hits harder than everybody. So Lomachenko won't be dealing with someone much bigger than him. But I think Tank will beat Lomachenko because Lomachenko is hittable. I think Tank would, at this point in his career, I think Tank would knock him out. But that would be an interesting fight because Lomachenko can fight, man, and he has that style that could create some issues for Tank. I'm not worried about Pitbull Cruz no more. Tank and Shakur Stevenson would be a very interesting fight. People can say what you want about Stevenson. I made my jokes about him running in the De Los Santos fight. But Shakur Stevenson Davis would be an interesting fight. He's fighting Frank Martin. And Kambosos Jr., I like him. I think he can fight. I just don't think he beats any of these top guys. Although he's considered one of them. I just think because of those titles he won, a little bit of Bob Arum's help in the secret society, he's still barely holding on because he lost his last fight. They hooked his ass up. Even he knows he lost that fight. Then you got Hughes, and then you got Keyshawn Davis out here, who is getting better. And he did look impressive. A nice array of punches. By the end of the year, Keyshawn Davis, he may be ready to start clipping some of these big names in this rack and stack with only 10, probably by the end of the year, maybe have 12 fights. But Tank Davis is only moving up the ladder, not reversing. But at 135, I don't know how long he's gonna stay there. Although he's comfortable at 135, for a guy like Tank Davis, where he needs to be is right here at 140. Like this is where Tank needs to be, mixing it up right here. You got Haney, Teofimo, you got Rowley, you got Regis, you got Matias, Taylor's out of there, man. You got Hitchens, Russell. This right here to me is where Tank needs to be at. He needs to be right here banging with all these guys, man. That would be amazing to see Tank bubble up and take on, the winner of Devin Haney and maybe Ryan Garcia again for Tank to go and try to fight Suber and Matias. But the bottom line is Tank's going to do what he wants. And we'll see how things go. But if anyone has the best chance to beat Tank Davis, it's probably right now. You know what I'm saying? But once he comes back and gets back in his rhythm and gets this fight out the way, if he can get through Frank Martin, which is not an easy fight. I'll tell you that, man. If he looks to fight like 90 days after that fight, especially if Tank comes out of the fight unscathed, anyone who gets in there with Tank is going to be in trouble because he's back in his rhythm. He's firing on all cylinders, and they're going to be in trouble. That being said, Gervonta Davis, hey, is he firing blanks right now? Is he going to get it together? Because Frank Martin is no joke, man. I don't care what anyone says. Frank Martin is no joke. He's a real live dog, and he's definitely a threat to any and everybody at 135 pounds. However, if Tank gets beyond him, we know Tank can do what he wants, but I just really feel I would like to see him fight, only the biggest names. You know what I'm saying? When Floyd Mayweather was out here doing his thing, I don't want to hear this shit about, Floyd is a ducky, he picked and chose, he was a cherry picker. Man, you got to stop that bullshit. When Floyd, once he clipped Genaro Hernandez, right, it was only, he just kept moving up the ladder. Name after name, champion after champion, name. You look at Floyd Mayweather's resume, it's crazy. It's like, this man there's no fought a big name, then cruise control for the next 3 fights against nobody's fought a big name. That motherfucker is just name, champion. It's amazing to see that. De La Hoya, look at his resume. Amazing to see that. You know what I mean? See where these guys were ranked and stuff like that. And I think, guys like Gervonta can do that. I think Shakir can do that. I think Devin Haney can do that. Ryan can do that. Teofimo can do that. May they take some losses along the way? Somebody may. But, if they're fighting each other, someone's got to lose, right? But none of them are anywhere remotely close to Floyd Mayweather and the skill he possessed. Like that's a whole nother level, man. But the bottom line is, at the end of these guys' careers, a lot of money would have been made, and a whole lot of legacy established. We just gotta wait and see what they choose to do. And we gotta wait and see if Tank Davis got those Glocks on full blast, or even if he does, is he firing blanks? We're gonna find out in the breeze.